What's going on? Here we go, baby. It is baseball season. We are back and we're doing a live video. First one since, my goodness, I think in the first few months of our channel, a few years back, we did it. So we're excited, hoping to do a lot more of these with some best bets, but we're going to be doing preview videos for every division. So we are excited, as you can tell, and you know who's back. That's right. If you listened last year, we brought Brad back. I know, we had to. What's going on, man?
Good, good. Everything's fine here. Just looking to talk some baseball, of course, as usual.
That's right. I'm pretty jacked up. So today's going to be the NL East. Also, we're going to have a poll question at the end, and we'll go over all that as we go as people show up. But we got some future bets, and we're just going to kind of break down every team. And I think it's helpful not only for futures bets, but this can also be pretty helpful for just how you're going to bet on this team, what you know about them, and all that kind of stuff. So I'm pretty excited about it. But yeah, I'm ready to kind of get going. I'm just going to mention kind of what our plan is and what we're doing here. We're going to go through team by team. We're going to talk off-season grades. We're going to talk some key players for each team, and then just our overall thoughts on the team. Any futures bets we have also we'll throw there in the middle as well. And then just interact with all you guys. Just want to talk some baseball because this is my first love. This is it. I tell my wife that all the time. Baseball is my first love. So I'm pretty jacked up about it, and I know Brad's a big baseball guy too. So that is for sure. Anything else, Brad? You ready to talk some NL East action?
Oh, let's get into it. It's a stacked division besides two teams, essentially.
It's very stacked at the top and very, what's the opposite of stacked on the bottom? It's very unstacked. It's something like that.
Deflated.
Deflated, very deflated. So yeah,
Deflated with no moves.
with that, let's first pull up the odds to win the division for the NL East. There it is, guys. As you can see, it's a three-team race. The Braves at plus 110. They were minus 240 last season. Obviously didn't win. The Phillies are plus 215 this year. They were plus 310 last year and won the division. And then the Mets were plus 240. They were plus 1100 last season and finished tied for second. Nationals plus 6,500. It is ugly. And then the Marlins are plus 25,000. So you're saying there's a chance, I think, with the Marlins, maybe.
Yeah.
I do not recommend betting any money on them. But yeah, those are the odds just for this division. And if you didn't know, last year, Phillies finished atop the division by 6 games, 95 and 67. And then the Braves and Mets tied, but the Mets went to the NLCS. And then the Nats, 71 wins. And the Marlins, 62 and 100. Just another great season by them in Miami. But as you can tell, 3 great teams, 2 terrible teams. But let's dive right into it. We're going to start with the Philadelphia Phillies. That's right. And we're going to talk off-season. Brad, I'll let you take it away. How do you think they did this off-season?
For the Phillies,
Yeah.
I think I graded them a B plus for their actual off season. They didn't make too many changes, but they also didn't need to make too many changes.
That is correct. Yes.
I mean, they're pretty stacked. They brought in, Jesus Luzardo for the pitching stats, which is, a really good guy. He was the ace in, Miami. So that definitely helps. Of course, when you get more pitching help, especially with an offensive loaded lineup.
Yeah. They did add Max Kepler and then Jordan Romano from the Blue Jays. I think he's coming off an injury as well. But they did lose 2 relievers, Jeff Hoffman and Carlos Estevez. So, I don't know if their bullpen's really getting much better. We'll see what Romano can give them. But Luzardo, I mean, that gives them, we'll talk about the rotation later. That gives them like 5 number 1 or number 2 type starting pitchers. So it's going to be pretty impressive there with the starting pitching there. But yeah, other than that, I mean, my take is, I mean, the Luzardo addition is awesome. Let's face it. I mean, that's the best one there is. He's an absolute stud. He is injured last year a little bit, injured last year, I believe it was. I don't know if it was 2 years ago as well, but and then Kepler, he's decent, gives them some depth, but I give him a B for the offseason. So I think we're kind of on the same page there.
Yeah, I like the Kepler signing because it takes Schwarber out of left field. Now you can truly put him at DH and you actually have defense out there and not have to rely on Klaus Schwarber and left.
Yeah,
They brought in Kepler merely for his defense. I don't think they cared about his offense because his offense hasn't been good as of late.
No, it hasn't. He did have some good years there for a little while, but yeah, no, he's not so good. But yeah, just any players to watch for or anyone you're keeping an eye on for this team?
For this team, I would say most likely the person they keep an eye on. I mean, Nick Castellanos has been starting to tear it up as of late. The past couple seasons. He's always hit or miss, but he's put 2 good seasons together. I think he's going to be their best hitter overall, stat wise for the Phillies. Even though they have Bryce Harper, I think Castellanos is going to have more home runs.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. I kind of agree with you on that one. It looks like we got Spadowski's Clubhouse. Appreciate you joining, man. And Yo Pierre. I don't know if you're still there, but yeah, thanks for joining some baseball talk. And this Phillies team is tough for me, man. It's for me, if you're a Phillies fan, you know, but a young starting pitcher in Andrew Painter, selected 13th overall in 2021. He lost 2 years with injuries. He was touching 100 miles an hour, averaging 97 on the fastball in the fall. Top 10 prospect in baseball. They're hoping he can help the team as well. But this rotation's loaded. 22 years old. But Luzardo coming off 2 years, 3.58 ERA, 3.32. I mean, he's been solid. He has 328 Ks in his last 279 innings. So again, to have this guy as like the back end of your rotation is definitely pretty impressive. So not too bad there, but some interesting notes. I'm curious to see your take because I've always been curious about this. Schwarber may move down to 3 or 4 in the lineup. He was the weirdest leadoff hitter in baseball, in my opinion. Like, what did you agree with that? Because that was bizarre to me.
I mean, it was working for them for a while,
Yeah.
but you just now adding, they just have so much depth. I don't know why Trey Turner's not your leadoff hitter with that speed and everything. It just doesn't make any sense. I know he hits for power, but so does everybody else in that lineup. Bryce Harper, JT Realmuto, Trey Turner himself, Nick Castellanos, Schwarber. Alec Baum is starting to hit, home runs now. And then Max Kepler could get you like 20. I mean, it's no need to have your most powerful hitter bat leadoff. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Especially when he bats 190.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Leadoff hitter shouldn't be batting 190.
But he did kind of get on base quite a bit. I mean, he was walking quite a bit, but that's really all. It was like a walk or a bomb with him, or maybe a double play.
Yeah. And his average last year was actually a lot higher. He batted like 240. So it wasn't the 190, but it's still just and he can't run.
Yeah.
Like, he's slow, so it just didn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, I agree. I completely agree. We had some technical difficulties now, by the way. We had to start. It's on a different video than what we scheduled, so I am now just finally seeing the chat for this video. So anyways, just want to thank you guys for coming in. That's why we're a little, I was a little off there, but at Joe Casarole, I think you say, Adrian Alfaro, that's right, a Jabo member. Appreciate you joining. Monzi and Yubby Nubbers. What a name right there. But yeah, we're excited to talk some baseball. Again, we scheduled a video to be out and we started a stream. It started on this video. Either way, you guys found us, so I'm happy. Thank you guys for joining, though. Appreciate it. But this, like I've said before, this Phillies team, I mean, it's all about this rotation. It really is. It's one of the best rotations in the league. Not better than my Mariners, of course, right? But we got Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Suarez, Sanchez, and now Luzardo. I mean, that is a ridiculous starting five. It really is. And when you got as good an offense as these guys got, but to be honest with you, the thing that worries me about the Phillies is they're getting a little old. They're still solid, but can these veterans continue to perform? We're talking Schwarber's 32 years old. Castellanos is 33. Realmuto is going to be 34 by the start of the season. Brad, you got any worries or anything like that on this team? Because it's, it's still solid. Obviously, Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, as good as it gets at the top, but
the only worry I have is the bullpen. I mean, all they really have is Romero now and Alvarado. They don't really have much depth in their bullpen. But this offense is going to be an offense that's going to score you like 6 to 8 runs a game.
Yeah.
So hopefully they just score more runs.
Exactly. And speaking of that bullpen, they had the 14th best ERA as a bullpen last season, 3.94, but they did have the 4th best Sierra, 6th best xFIP. So, it shows they've been a little bit unlucky, but, picking up some key pieces or lost some key pieces also. So I don't know if this can be one of those teams where, they can hit, they can have the rotation, and then the bullpen just lets them down at the end of the games. We're going to find out. Obviously, they got guys like Jose Alvarado. If you've watched him pitch, I mean, he can look absolutely unbelievable and then just look absolutely terrible at some point. So, he had like a 4.09 ERA, so I don't know if you like enough pieces out of this bullpen. But Matt Strom, he's a guy who single-handedly lost a couple bets that we had last year. But he had a 1.87 ERA. I don't think he can continue that, but we'll find out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If I look at Alvarado, he's turning into the new age Hector Neris for the
That's
Phillies.
actually not a bad look because they can just look so good at points, and
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Hector,
That's for sure.
Hector Neris will look like the best pitcher, relief pitcher, and then out of nowhere he loses you 3 straight saves, and you're just
Yeah,
like, oh, okay, well, that backfired.
yeah, definitely. Charles White, appreciate you joining. Yeah, we're gonna talk a few futures, and I have a future to give out on the Braves team when we get to that here in a little bit. So just want to let you know we'll probably have a wrap up futures video, as it gets closer to the season as well. But there is a future I like for the Braves, and anything Brad might like, we're just gonna kind of talk about it a little bit. But yeah, leave your comment below. Let me know what you guys think of the Phillies, because I mean overall, really, it's not a big difference. This is kind of the same team, the same lineup, a bunch of stud veterans that they have there. Their starting five might be as good as it's ever been, honestly. So if they can pitch the way they're capable, and honestly, we didn't talk about this, but Taijuan Walker finally is not going to have to start for them. That's a big plus because he has mightily struggled. I think he's fighting for a bullpen spot now, and maybe that can work. Sometimes that works for guys, but either way, their rotation is top. What would you say? I'd say top 3, top 5 in the MLB, easy. I mean,
Yeah,
no question there.
with that 5, yep. And even if
Yep.
you had to throw in Taijuan Walker as your 5th, still good.
Every once in a while, yes. But yeah, you're right.
You
First
had to put him in there as a 5th or even a 6th guy just to get the first guy a rest.
Yeah, and Wheeler's the guy who I think is on a contract year too, so that always brings out the best in him. So I mean, it's going to be solid. Rangers, Suarez, Sanchez, they had some points last year. I think Suarez was in the Cy Young race at one point and early in the season. He was that good. So yeah, it's pretty solid. I mean, prediction, obviously they're going to be right up there in this division. I don't see anything different. They might be sort of an under team. We'll see if they have some veterans kind of underperform a little bit. And maybe a first 5 under because we don't trust their bullpen. But either way, it's the pitching team, and with obviously some good bats as well. Maybe Schwarber moving down in the lineup. When he hits a home run, maybe it won't be a solo home run every freaking time. So maybe it'll actually be with Trey Turner on base or Bryce Harper. But either way, yeah. Any last words to say on the Phillies before we move to the Braves?
Yeah, put Schwarber at 4th. Let Harper hit 3. Trey Turner lead it off, and then you can even put like Nick Castellanos batting 2nd. That'd probably be really well.
Man, I'm on the fence about Castellanos. I don't know.
I think he's gonna be good.
Another guy who shows flashes, but he's in his 30s now, and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's the Phillies. Again, leave your comment. Let me know if you guys think is this a World Series contending team or kind of what you think of this team. But let's move on to those freaking Atlanta Braves. The over-under win total is set at 93.5. They had 89 wins last season. Not a huge offseason, huge addition with Jurickson Profar. If you guys watched the Padres last year, Profar was an absolute stud. And then Garrett Cooper, Brian De La Cruz, and then let's face it, they're pretty much adding Strider and Acuna, right? I mean, they weren't playing for them last year with injuries, not much of the season at least. So it's going to be huge. And then they lost AJ Minter, big bullpen guy, Travis d'Arnaud, Max Fried, huge loss, signed that big deal with the New York Yankees. And then Uncle Charlie Morton and Jorge Soler also gone. So, I'll just give it first. Not the best offseason, but I think Profar is one of the best signings in baseball that no one's talking about. What do you think about their offseason?
No, I was going to say the same thing. Jurickson Profar is still playing at a very high level. And just because of that, I gave them a C+, just for the mere fact of them getting Jurickson Profar. They lost a lot of pieces, but they got Jurickson Profar, and they got Brian De La Cruz from Miami, who was probably their second best player on that team, who's now gone, obviously. But that added some depth, especially in the outfield, because Acuna seems to be getting hurt. Now you also have, Jared Kelnick is still there. So he had some depth for the outfield as well with Brian De La Cruz and, also Jurickson Profar. It's a really good signing, as you said. It's not talked about a lot because he's not an all-star caliber player, as people call, or, a stud, but
yeah,
he plays.
It doesn't make sense that they can have so many good bats and add Profar to it. It just really is. But Charles White said losing Fried is crippling. It can be. It really is. I think he's on a little bit of a decline, to be honest with you. In his 30s now, not a huge swing and miss kind of pitcher anyways. It's not an ideal loss, definitely, but I don't think I would want to sign him to the deal that the Yankees did. I mean, we're signing
No,
him into his mid to late 30s, right, with that contract and the huge money. So I get why they didn't. But
no,
let's see.
they're too stacked offensively to even care. I
Yeah.
mean, you lose an ace, but who cares? They put up the same thing as the Phillies. They're going to put up 6 to 10 runs a game on you.
Yes, definitely. And for that, I give the Phillies like a B minus offseason grade. I mean, I don't because they didn't really do much. I thought they'd do a little bit
Oh,
more.
exactly.
And obviously losing Minter and Fried are blows to this team, but I think Profar is the reason I didn't probably give him a D. This is offseason grade, not what we think of the team. But again,
Yeah.
you got to think this is a team that says, you know what, we won 89 games last year, and Acuna and Strider, our best hitter and our best pitcher, were not on the field. So that's pretty freaking impressive to do that. But yeah, let's move to. Did you give your offseason grade? You kind of right around the same.
Yeah, I give C plus, and like I said, just merely off the fact that they signed Jerks and Profar. They lost a lot, but they got a guy that they kind of needed. They needed outfield help, and he actually plays well in the outfield. He doesn't suck out there. He's not going to be a liability offensively or defensively.
Yes,
And
definitely.
and I believe he's a switch hitter, so that
Yep.
also helps too.
Dude, he's a stud. He won me a bet. I
Yeah.
think was it a late inning grand slam or something that he hit. It was
Yeah.
it was bonker. That guy's good. He made some tweaks to his swing, and I think it's real because I know a few years ago he was fine, he was okay, but he looks like the real deal. But I'm on to my first future bet of the entire season, and it's on a player to watch. Matt freaking Olson, baby. Over 32 and a half home runs. I love this one. He had a down year by his standards last year. He hit 29 home runs. This guy is a true Iron Man. He is averaging 686 plate appearances and 40 home runs per season. Slow start last year is what hurt him. Now, he's gotten off to slow starts before, but this slow start lasted like the whole first half of the season, and then he finally picked it up. So the first 100 games last year, he hit 13 home runs with 389 slugging. Not very good, let's face it. And then the last 62 games, 16 bombs and a 568 slugging. It was the Matt Olson that we know. So, I can't imagine. There's no sign of decline or anything like that. This guy's not some old hitter. He's in a loaded lineup. He's going to get lots of pitches to hit. It's not like they're going to be able to walk or pitch around him or anything. It's a great buy low spot. Like I said, this is a guy who's been averaging 40 home runs lately per season. I just need 33. I absolutely love this one. So I'm putting a full unit on it as is over 32 and a half home runs. And then that's my player to watch. But I also have one more. You guys might know Michael Harris, one of the best contact hitters in the game. Injuries derailed this season. I think he's got a chance to lead the league in hits. That's how good he is. So those are my two players to watch. Brad, you got anybody else for the Braves?
For the Braves, no, that's pretty much it. Sean Murphy, I would,
Yeah.
it's going to be a good player to watch because they don't have Travis d'Arnaud anymore. So now Sean Murphy's pretty much the guy at catcher, and he's a pretty good hitting catcher and defensively as well. He's better than d'Arnaud. So it's going to be interesting to see how that position plays out. And I still can't believe they still didn't really go out and get a shortstop. Orlando Arcia is not the greatest, but he's the weakest one in their lineup, which says a lot. And he's actually not bad.
But their lineup is also stupid. I mean,
Exactly.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. At the half man, what's going on? A Jabo member. Thanks for joining, man. Yeah, definitely agree with what you said. White Sox win their division. Yep. Because they moved down. They moved down, right, to Double A. I think they can win the division in Double A.
You'd hope so. You'd hope so.
Hey, we're going to be talking about a team who's almost as bad as the White Sox in this video. But yeah, just to move on to the roster of this team, it's not the same starting five as the Phillies, but we're talking Chris Sale, Cy Young Award winner last year, as good as it gets. Can he repeat that performance? We're going to find out. Reynaldo Lopez, breakout season last year. He was really good. He's got a chance to be even better this year, in my opinion. And then Schwellenbach, baby. That's right. I love Schwelly. I have high hopes for this guy. If you don't know much about him, he has elite control. He's got 6 pitches. In his last 12 starts last year, a 2.47 ERA, 0.96 whip, almost 10 Ks per 9 innings. This guy's good. And what changes, he added a sinker in his third start of the year, and it was just bonkers after that. He had a 26% K rate, 4.4% walk rate over those final 19 starts. This is what's crazy. 9th in WAR among all starting pitchers in that time frame in the entire league. So will the league figure him out the second year? It's always a possibility, but I like Schwellenbach, Reynaldo Lopez, Chris Sale. You're looking solid, and then after that is where it gets a little dicey for me. Ian Anderson, Grant Holmes, there's some guys I don't love. But what do you think about this rotation?
I mean, the rotation's one of the best ones in that division or in all of baseball, essentially. I mean, you just Chris Sale and Spencer Strider right there already get you, up there. They still have Iglesias as closer as well. So he's one of the
Yeah,
premier closers who still gets it done at 34 saves last year. Um,
yeah,
yeah, no, they're pitching. Again, as we talk every year, the Atlanta doesn't really have any weak spots per se. They're good at all facets of the game, stealing the bases, hitting the baseball, throwing the baseball, catching the baseball. They're good at all of it. They don't
yep.
really have weakness, and they still win 89 games, as you said, without Acuna and Spencer Strider, and now they have them. So it's probably going to go from 89 or probably like 98.
Dude, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. And what obviously I didn't mention Strider. I mentioned him earlier when we were talking about him. He's obviously going to be a part of this rotation. It just won't be right away. Still working back from injury. But if you can stay healthy, I mean, Sale, Lopez, Schwellenbach, and Strider as your top four with that lineup, just freaking loaded. I don't know what to say. And well, speaking of loaded, we're going to go to that lineup. And you see the awe on my face. It's because I'm a Mariners fan. When we get one really good hitter, I'm jacked. I'm fired up. This team is freaking loaded. Their top 7 hitters would all be the best hitter on our team. It's just Jurickson Profar is going to lead off probably. Acuna is going to be back in April or May. Austin Riley, Marcelo Zuna, who's 34 years old, had an unbelievable year last year. He was like a Jabbo Hall of Famer with all our bets we won on him. Matt Olson, we just talked about, a guy who could hit 40 home runs, lead the league. He is that good, and also a Gold Glove first baseman. Michael Harris, who could lead the league in hits. That's how good he is. His elite bat to ball skills. Ozzie Albies, and then we're looking at what Arcia, Sean Murphy, Kelnick, all these guys mixing in. Well, Sean Murphy will be this catcher, but it's stupid, Brad. It's just not fair because I just want one of those 7. It doesn't
Yeah,
make. It's not right, and I'm just a bitter Mariner fan, to be honest.
yeah. Just give me Austin Riley. Just give me him at third base, and you're fine.
That your boy? You like Austin?
Yeah, yep. I'll take Austin Riley. I said it about 3 years ago. That guy was going to be an all-star the next year, and he was. He's the best hitter on the team.
He's pretty solid, that's for sure. Chicago Golf Pro, what's up, buddy? This is the guy who sends me MLB stats and dad jokes sometimes. Over under of 52.5 wins for the White Sox. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty solid, that's for sure. That's crazy.
Over under.
He's
Oh
obviously a
man.
Chicago guy. Stop hating on my White Sox.
Yeah.
It's
That's tough. 52.5. That's going to be close to that.
insane. It's absolutely insane. They're gonna have like plus 3.5 run lines this year. But yeah, this
Jesus.
Brave team, I mean, it could be the number 1 offense in baseball. It wouldn't shock me at all.
It could be the number 1 team in baseball,
Yeah,
realistically.
absolutely, and that means over the Dodgers, maybe even. We'll see. But the bullpen, losing Minter will hurt. Joe Jimenez also out for the season. 2 big losses there. Third best ERA in the league last year, 3.32. So, and a low xFIP. What do you think this bullpen's pretty decent? I still think they're going to be pretty decent.
It's going to be decent still. It's not,
Yeah.
not going to be. I don't think it's going to be top third of the league, but it's going to be decent enough for him. 'Cause with that starting rotation, their relief pitchers might only have to pitch 2 innings a game.
Yeah.
They might. So how bad can it really be?
I mean, I agree. Yeah. Dylan Lee was also a guy who was solid last year.
Yeah.
And then you still got Raisel Iglesias. You're going to be
Yep.
solid. But he had a sub 2 ERA last year with 34 saves. They're still going to be fine.
Yep. 195 ERAs. Everybody on their pitching staff was below like 2.7 ERAs.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, honestly, you're up 10-4 going to the 9th. You'll be okay.
Yeah.
So,
You can throw in whoever. You can throw a position player at that point.
yeah, definitely. But yeah, so overall, my one future bet is the Matt Olson over 32.5 home runs. I just talked about it. I love it. I think this lineup is insanely good. Plus 110 is not very tempting to me for the Braves, just because you're still dealing with Acuna and Strider with injuries. You're still facing the Mets and the Phillies. But I mean, gun to my head, I'm taking the Braves. I think the sky is the limit for this team. If they can just stay healthy. It wasn't just Acuna and Strider. They had a ton of injuries last year. Again, still won 89 games. This team is absolutely loaded. I do think they win the division. So I don't know if you're on the same page or what you think about the Braves.
Yeah, no, same thing. They're probably, favorites as we saw to win the division again, which they should be. Just overall, they don't have weaknesses in their lineups.
Yep, I agree. Yep, I agree. Leave your comment below. Let me know what you guys think. But we're gonna have a poll later to see who you guys think wins this division. But Let's move on to the New York Mets. That's right. Man, what a year it was last season for them. Going to the NLCS, the team of destiny. Over-under win total is 91.5 wins. They won 89 games last year. Made it to the NLCS like we talked about. Off seasons, one of the best in the MLB. Let's face it. I mean, they added a man named Juan Tutu. Is that his name? Juan Soto? He's
Is it
pretty
Sata? Wansata?
Sato. He is freaking
Satao?
good. The amount of money they gave that man is insane. They re-signed Pete Alonso, Sean Manaea, Jesse Winker, added Clay Holmes. Now, Clay Holmes is known as the closer for the Yankees, but let's face it, he is going to be a starter this year. So, it's one of those Garrett Crochet things. Can he turn into a starter and be really good? Is he on an innings limit? But he's got a potential to be really good. He was a starter before that, I think in college or before or in the minors or something. So he can do it. Then they added AJ Minter from the Braves. Ozale, another bullpen arm from the Cubbies. Frankie Montas, who I don't think is very good. And then Nick Madrigal, bat to ball guy. So they added some depth there. But Holmes going to be a wild card for me, but great 1-2 punch if Minter can get healthy with Edwin Diaz. And then they also added Joey Meneses, kind of a sneaky good addition, decent little hitter for the Nats last year. But those are the additions. They lost Iglesias, who we all know was just awesome. I mean, it really was. And then Luis Severino and JD Martinez, some veterans there. So what do you think of their offseason? I'm giving it an A plus. It's crazy.
Plus, yeah, no, I think it's up there. Getting Soto was a big splash, which wasn't going to push them over the hump essentially because they need other pieces. But yeah, I had them at about a B plus A minus with all that. Getting re-signed Jesse Winker. I like the Jose Siri signing as well because face it, I don't think the starting center fielder shouldn't be Jose Siri after a while. I think it's like Tyrone Taylor right now, who's
Yep.
probably going to lose that to Jose Siri, in the first like month or two. But other than that, the bullpen is only probably sketchy part, but they did add good parts to it. They added, like I said, the dude from the Cubs, the Alize, and then I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah, I mean, they're
I
still going to
think,
be solid.
but I think they're going to be right around where they were last year. They won 89. They'll probably win a few less or a few more. I don't think it's going to be a crazy difference.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's going to come down to the playoffs and all that. And what we didn't talk about is Kodai Senga. That's right.
Yep.
Senga, he lost last year due to injuries. So he's kind of an addition to them. Can he find his form and health again? He's a player to watch for me. Also, all signs point to him being ready. They need him to perform because compared to the last two rotations we saw, this one's not quite as good in my opinion. Yeah, I'll let you go. But what do you think about this rotation? If Senga's healthy, let's assume.
If Senga's healthy, it's going to be a good starting rotation. If Clay Holmes works out as an actual starter, yeah, they'll be competing with Atlanta if that works out. If Senga works out and Clay Holmes works out, David Peterson had a decent year too, so he'd be like the fifth guy. They'd hang in there with Atlanta, especially offensively wise as well too. So they could, like I said, the top three teams in the division, like we just stated, the Mets, Phillies, and Atlanta, they're all right there. They're all going to be within a few wins of each other. It's just going to come down to like the last series of the regular season or last two series.
And come down to health, really. Who's going to stay healthy?
Exactly.
It's going to be an awesome race, that's for sure. But Sean Manaea, Kodai Senga, if Senga can be really good, it really helps. But they got some wild cards. I'm a little worried about the rotation. That's kind of why I have them down a little bit.
Yep.
Manaea and Kodai Senga again, but we got David Peterson, he was elite at limiting hard contact last year, and then we got Clay Holmes. What in the world are we going to get out of him? Is he going to be a stud like Crochet was when he went to a starter, or is he going to be just okay? Is he going to struggle like we saw AJ Puck tried to be a starter? That didn't turn out well at all. So we'll see what we get from him. And then we got Blackburn Griffin Canning, who is a flat out can, and then McGill. So it might go with a 6-man rotation. It's not as deep and not as great of a rotation as you would like to see if you're trying to compete for a World Series, but that's the rotation. Lineup wise, though, this is why they're going to compete. I mean, the top four guys: Lindor, Soto, Alonso, and Vientos. Vientos had a good year last year. It's pretty good. And that's an understatement. It's really freaking good. And then we'll see what Francisco Alvarez can do. Jesse Winker, McNeil. So overall, what do you think of this rotation that they have and lineup? I guess in general.
Yeah, no, it's great. Like I said, now it'd be awesome to see, Francisco Lindor leading off now. Especially being a switch hitter. It's always nice to have a decent speed switch hitter lead off. And then you could put Juan Soto like batting 2. That'd be great. And then Pete Alonso 3, and then you could put Vientos 4, or even,
Mhm.
and you can put anybody at 4 at that point.
Yeah.
Francisco Alvarez, put him at 4 if you wanted to. But pitching is like I said, the bullpen's the only thing that really worries me in this, because they did add a few good pieces, but you need more than just a few.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's right up there with the Phillies and the Nationals, the Braves.
And the White Sox, yeah.
Yeah, they're right up there with the White Sox.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
right up there.
Shawnee Shine, what's going on, man? Appreciate that. Thanks for joining. Free Thinker, thanks for joining, man. Yeah, Soto. Soto is, by the way, the first at bat of spring training, he just went yard. If you guys saw that already. But yeah, speaking of that bullpen, he was just talking about. Mets had the 17th best ERA last season, 5th best xFIP, so they had some positive regression coming their way. They added AJ Minter, obviously, if he can be a stud again, coming back from injury, Azalea. So we know what Edwin Diaz can do. He's very capable of being one of the best closers in the game. So potential to be a top 10 bullpen if everything falls right. Again, the pitching is just a step below, in my opinion, the Braves and the Phillies. So we'll see. That's kind of where the difference is. And again, it's not a big difference. We both think these 3 teams are going to just be competing for this division. They got a shot to win it. It won't be easy, but maybe if you want to take them just because you think it's a coin flip, they have the highest odds of these 3 teams at over 2-1. But for me, it's a stay away. I think the team total's about right. Is that kind of where you're at?
Yeah, I have them. Like I said, same thing as about 89 wins.
Yeah.
Few more, few less, somewhere in around the 89 wins.
Yeah. No, that's kind of where I'm at. But yeah, so those are the 3 teams. And we're going to have a poll question here in just a little bit. So stay tuned. We do have some info to talk about. Because again, if we're betting, we want to know these teams, even if it's the Nationals and the Marlins. And Marlins, I got some crazy things to talk about. So stay tuned for that. But Nationals, over under wins total, set at 72.5. They won 71 games last year. Young talent, still in a complete rebuild, that's for sure. But offseason added Nathaniel Lowe, one of the biggest bats they've added in a while. Michael Soroka, reliever, Jorge Lopez, Josh Bell, re-signed Trevor Williams. Jorge Lopez may be a guy who starts or close some games for them. And then Lowe has averaged a 791 OPS the last 4 seasons and 20 home runs. Gold Glove caliber first baseman. I mean, really a good addition for a Nats team like this. They just needed someone that was a veteran that's proven it in the majors. And then they lost Joey Meneses, like we talked about earlier. Relief pitcher Finnegan finally got rid of Mr. Patrick Corbin. I mean, it is about dang time. But what's your take on this? I give them a D because they got some young pieces, and I thought they would go for it a little bit more, and they just didn't. So yeah, what do you think about the Nats offseason?
Same thing. I got them D, F plus. They didn't really do anything. You lose Joey Meneses, but you did add, you didn't really add much. You got Josh Bell back. That's always great.
True.
A switch hitting power hitter. That's nice. But again, Jorge Lopez is slot to be their closer right now, so that's good. But even with that lineup, I don't see them winning many games or having a lead going into the 9th. So what good is that going to be?
Yeah.
So the closer's only good if you're winning in the 9th inning, or you don't even use him. So you have a great closer, but you got to be in that situation. Mackenzie Gore, he's their ace right now on the mound, and he's got a 3.9 ERA, 181 Ks. But other than that, it's like you said, re-sign Trevor Williams. That's fine. But again, the starting rotation is not very good. They really have nobody in the bullpen but Jorge Lopez. Pitching is definitely not what they were going for. I do like Keibert Ruiz at catcher. He didn't have a good year, but it's a switch hitting catcher. I believe he's going to be better. He's still kind of young, but get old Paul DeYoung to play third base for you now, who's looking at this lineup could be one of the better hit-ups in the lineup, unfortunately. And then I do like Dylan Cruz, the Golden Spikes winner at LSU. He's going to be a starter now and starting in right field for them now. So that does help, but I just still don't see them making big jumps and getting light years better.
I agree. It's just going to be up to this young core that they have. But CJ Abrams, a player to watch for me.
Yep.
He's a big prospect that came over in that Soto trade along with James Wood. Defensively, he was in the first percentile of all shortstops. I think they got to move him. Maybe they are. He cost them 17 outs below average. No other player in baseball costs more than 14 outs below average. I mean, this guy was horrendous defensively. Offensively, if you guys remember, he had a great first half and then just absolutely folded in the second half. He actually got demoted down to AAA after missing a curfew last year. They had some problems with him. What was he at a casino or I don't even remember
Something
some.
weird.
Yeah. So, and he was chasing way too many pitches last year. Still ended with 20 home runs thanks to a hot start, 31 stolen bases. Obviously, we know he can get it going on the base paths, but advanced numbers don't look good. So if he can't get it going, he's one of their core pieces at the top of the lineup. And then Brad already touched on Dylan Cruz. If you guys don't know about this guy, you probably will. He's the MLB's number 6 prospect, second round pick in 2023. Small stint last season, wasn't very good. It doesn't mean much to me. Again, it's a really young player. He was drafted in 23. That's how much time he's had. It has not been that long. But he had a combined 270 with 13 home runs and 25 stolen bases in 100 games in the minors. So, this guy's pretty good. He's only got about 500 at-bats in the minors. He's definitely one of their core pieces, in my opinion. But this lineup, like Brad, it's going to be brutal. So here's the deal, guys. This team hit the fewest home runs in the MLB last year. The fewest. That's pretty bad.
But they still won 71 games, which is crazy.
That is wild to me, honestly. And their top 3 guys are going to be, we're talking, I don't know how the lineup's going to be constructed, but if it's C.J. Abrams, Dylan Cruz, and James Wood, I mean, these guys are all ridiculously young players that you're counting on. Then Nathaniel Lowe will be up there at number 4. Then you're looking at Josh Bell, Keibert Ruiz, like he talked about, Paul DeYoung. I mean, Luis Garcia Jr. actually had a decent season, 282 average, 44 extra base hits last season. So, it's an okay lineup at maybe getting the bat on the ball. But again, these young guys, it's all going to depend on that. And do you really want to, place any bets or count on a team that's just counting on 21, 22-year-old guys trying to hit the ball? So we'll see. Rotation wise, you touched on a little bit, but I'm guessing you're not a fan because it's pretty ugly.
Yeah, it's just they don't have the offense to support their pitching and vice versa. Their pitching's not good enough to shut people out and only give up 1 or 2 runs. And then even if they did, they don't have the offense to get that 1 or 2 runs.
Yeah.
So it's just not good overall. They
agree.
don't complement each other. You don't have anything great in any aspect. They're below average in pretty much every aspect of the game, in my opinion. Yeah. Just below average, so you're gonna have below average wins.
I mean, so they have they do have a couple young pitchers that maybe have some hope. Mackenzie Gore is not really super young anymore, former top prospect, but he finally had a good full season, not elite, but 3.90 ERA. He's decent, his fastball was getting absolutely demolished last year. But if he could figure that out, he did allow only 7 runs in his last 40.2 innings. So he was pretty good that way. But I mean, Jake Irvin, most losses in the NL last year, even though he had a decent year for him. Mitchell Parker is one of those interesting starting pitchers. Showed some good things as a rookie. Had a 4.29 ERA. Can he step it up? And then DJ Hertz, if you guys remember him, he's a rookie last year, 4.16 ERA. Did have more than a K per inning, 106 and 88.2 innings, but also walked 36 guys. It's just a bunch of unknowns. Like, what are you going to get from him? Maybe Hertz or Parker or, one of the other step up to form an okay combo with Mackenzie Gore here. But again, the depth here, everything is just says we're rebuilding still. It's really what it's about. It's not quite the same. So, but yeah, we can touch on their bullpen. I'm guessing you're not a huge fan. It wasn't great last year.
No, they're both. I mean, they don't really have anybody but Jorge Lopez. What I've been looking at, it's not going to be good.
No, you're wrong. Okay, this is how deep dive I go. They added Shinosuke Agasawara. I just completely butchered that. MPB's Chunichi. This is crazy. Chunichi's Dragons. That's where he played last year. You guys know the Dragons, right? They're solid.
Yeah.
3.12 ERA last year for them. But here's the crazy part. 82 strikeouts in 144 innings. That's no bueno. He is not missing bats playing for the Dragons. He is probably not going to miss many bats in the majors. So other than that, the bullpen's going to be bad. I mean, Jorge Lopez, it's a bunch of young guys. You guys know what we think about him. Moss Rocks, appreciate you joining. Nats probably slightly below 500, 70.5 over on the wins. I don't hate the line. If I would bet them, I'd take the over. Honestly, if I had to bet them, I would take the over, but I don't think Brad is on that same train.
I'm not over the 70 wins. I think they got 71 on a fluke last year, and they got worse. Ironically, their team got worse
I
this
mean,
year. I
which is
don't think they
crazy.
got any better.
Which is
They were
crazy
already
when you're
bad, and they got worse.
and you're rebuilding. You think you'd keep getting better. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah,
Chunichi Dragons and
yeah,
Hiroshima Toyo Carps rule. The half
yeah.
man. I'm gonna assume you're talking other teams. I have no idea. Best. I don't
All they
follow it,
do.
but all I know is if you're only striking out 82 guys in 144 innings, it's not pretty. Let's just face it. I'm gonna call him Shinny, by the way, because I will never want to pronounce that name again. But either way, I do lean over on the wins. So, and by the way, it is Japanese baseball. Japanese baseball is not a joke. Obviously, they got some good players over there.
Oh, they
But
do.
I would bet over. Brad has a hot take and doesn't like the over. And
I'm
actually,
going under. I had them at 62 wins. They're going to go 62 and 100.
wow,
I
wow.
don't think they're getting to 70 games again. It's just
Okay,
I
we're gonna
think
find out.
we saw a fluke, and
That's riveting stuff, guys. Who cannot wait to follow the Nationals and see if they hit 70?
yeah.
Everything he says is a joke. The half man, you could say anything. I would believe you. It's Japanese baseball. I know nothing about it. But here's a team that Brad thinks is a little better than the Nationals. Let's finish it with the Miami freaking Marlins. The over-under win total is 63.5. They won 62 games last year. Their offseason was terrible. It was just terrible. They did nothing. They added some prospects and Brad's favorite player, Cal Quantrill. I'm just joking, by the way. But Luzardo and Jake Berger were lost. They are in a rebuild, but they are continuing to go down because not only do they absolutely suck in the majors, they are also a bottom farm system. How do you do that? How can you be a bottom 10 farm system and the second worst team in the major leagues? I just don't understand it. But here's some notes, guys. This is what you come here for. Just sit back and relax. I have some interesting news about the Marlins. The
Blame
Marlins.
Derek Jeter. Blame Derek Jeter.
I'm gonna always blame Derek Jeter. MLB teams are supposed to spend 1.5 times of their revenue share. Okay, just follow me here. Revenue share is $105 million, so they need to spend around 70 million. The Marlins payroll, they're around 30 to 40 million short right now. That's how much. And this is MLB PA thing, so they will be getting a grievance against them from the MLB PA. Sandy Alcantara is the only player on the roster with a guaranteed salary next year. Like, how is that? How? 31 of the 40 players on the 40-man roster haven't even reached 2 years of service time yet. It's just ridiculous. 20 players that haven't even hit 1 year of service. It is insane down there in Miami. They have to spend more money. They're about to get in trouble for it. Owner probably doesn't care much, but yeah, that's all I got for them. Player to watch, Xavier Edwards, decent little hitter last year. Let's face it. Elite bat to ball skills, kind of a Luis Arias kind of guy. Hit 328 and 31 of 35 on stolen base attempts as a rookie. 22.5% chase rate is excellent with an 11% walk rate. Only a 7% swinging strike rate. This guy literally just made contact all the time. Above average K rate as well. Got a little lucky with a 398 BABIP. If you don't know what that is, that's batting average on balls in play. You don't expect around a 400 average on those, so he will come down. But he's a nice little player for them. Obviously, not a guy who's going to hit 35 bombs or anything. But any other players to watch on this incredibly awesome team?
The one person I wanted to watch or liked watching was Edward Cabrera if he could ever stay healthy. I'm a big MLB The Show guy, and he was a nasty card to face. Xavier Edwards was another one I was going to say that you took out of my mouth there. I also like Jesus Sanchez. He's probably their best hitter right now. Ironically, he's their most veteran player in their hitting lineup, and he has the most. Yeah, he's like their most veteran player, and they lost Jake Berger. They lost some good players too, which is crazy. They didn't have many, and they're all gone. Dela Cruz, Berger. The only people they kept was Sanchez and Sandy Alcantara.
Yeah,
and of course their big signing was Cal Quantrill. The biggest signing, and it broke the league. It broke the league when that signing happened. I couldn't believe it.
He's so good.
I couldn't believe it.
He's so good. I don't even know why anyone signed him. But I mean, you're looking at a lineup. Connor Norby is another guy who they're kind of building around, supposed to be a good young hitter. I mean, Edwards, Norby, we're talking guys like Jesus Sanchez, Jonah freaking Bride, Dane Myers, Matt Mervis. Stop me when you've heard of someone. Otto Lopez, Kyle Stowers, Nick Fortes. Guys, this lineup is so incredibly bad. I don't even know what else to say. I mean, Marlins team total under. Let's just run it every single day. I bet we'll be profitable. Rotation, Sandy Alcantara, like we talked about, ex-Cy Young Award winner. Can he come back from injury? The only guy with a real contract on this team. Ryan Weathers, Edward Cabrera. Now they have some young players. Max Meyer is not a bad pitcher. And then Yuri Perez, he's going to be back around midseason. He has showed some flashes as well. So, Meyer, Cabrera, with Edward Cabrera and Yuri Perez are three guys they're kind of counting on. But again, I mean, you still got Quantrill in the lineup, and these are all young guys. I like the rotation better than the lineup. I'll just say that. Is that a compliment?
Yeah, it's probably the only sort of bright spot they have is if their starting pitching is good. Like if Kyle Quantrill somehow at the age of like 80 pulls out a decent season, and Edward Cabrera figures it out, they'd probably be all right, and they'll probably get some more wins. They'll probably get 2 or 3 extra wins just off of starting pitching.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, I agree. I think we talked about this team too long, and I apologize for that. But I will say the Warriors are putting a beat down on the Mavs for the money line parlay win for anybody who did tail that one. So that's a nice winner. Anyways, they're terrible. I mean, only the Rockies and the White Sox have lower win totals than the Marlins. But Brad does think the Marlins will be better than the Nationals. I guess that's the hottest take on this division.
Somehow, I think it's going to happen. I think just because of that starting pitching. I don't know how, but I think they're going to end up around the same, and I think they're going to have more wins than the Nationals somehow.
It'd be great is if they were tied for the same record and they had a 3-game series to end the year, and you're just jacked about it. You're just
dude, I'd be hype about that. There's nothing better than 2 bad teams playing each other.
That's right.
Then you're like, it's literally anybody's game.
And you can still win money, guys, on bad teams. But anyways, it's time to take a poll. That's right. Let us know who you think wins this division. So we're going to pop up a poll here in just a little bit. I think it's already up now. And let us know who you think's going to win. If you say Marlins, I don't know what else to say to you. But yeah, we got Braves. Obviously, we got the Braves, Phillies, Mets, and Nats. Oh, sorry, we're not even putting the Marlins on there because that's a waste of our time. So we're not going to. But yeah, let me know. We'll stop it here in just another minute. I'm curious to see what you guys think.
It looks like the Braves are going to pull away from it.
Come on, Braves. They're
pulling away.
I thought, honestly, the Mets would be getting some love from that NLCS run they had.
Yeah. Well, again, they're kind of the same.
Yeah.
They didn't really get better. They didn't get worse. I think they got maybe a tad better, if anything. But not enough to get you extra wins.
I mean, Soto's pretty damn good.
Like I said, if anything, you're getting 2 or 3 more wins. Again, they'll be right around 89 wins again. Maybe a little less, maybe a little more, somewhere around there.
We end it right there. The Braves looks like 75%. Gotta love that, huh? The Braves are going to take the division according to the poll. I agree with you guys. And again, just a quick recap. The only future bet I have right now in this division is Matt Olson over 32.5 home runs. If I had to do a team total over, it'd be maybe the Nats team total over. Just because it's so freaking low, not because I think they're excellent. But again, that sounds disgusting. And then maybe, Braves maybe to win the division. But again, it's like plus 110. It's not really great. So not a lot of appealing options here. Except for Matt Olson. So, but yeah. So how do you see this division wrapping up then? Give me the exact placing of each team.
I have it pretty much as you'd figure. I have Atlanta, and then it's gonna be Phillies, the Mets, and I guess I'll change. It's a toss up between Nationals and Miami for me essentially. So you could say Nationals, Miami Nationals, but then those 2 teams are irrelevant. It won't even matter.
Very irrelevant.
It won't matter if they get 4th or 5th. The clear thing that matters is 1 through 3. Who's going to win it and who's going to make wild card, essentially. Because all 3 of those teams are going to make playoff. It's just a matter of seeding. Who's going to have the first seed and who's going to have wild card spots.
Funny timing. Right as you said that, Charles White leaves a chat comment. 3 playoff teams from this division. And you're right.
Yep.
Sports scientist Jacob, what's up, my man? Thanks for joining. But yeah, we're wrapping it up here. So the poll says the Braves are going to win. I agree. I think it's going to go Braves, then Phillies, and then Mets. I think the Phillies starting rotation just gets the nod over the Mets. Again, I don't just because I have the Mets placing third doesn't mean I think they're going to suck. I think they're still going to be right up there in the mid 80s wins, the high 80s wins, and then the two doormats of the division in the Nationals and Marlins. So it's going to be an exciting 3-team race, I'll tell you that. But yeah, thank you guys for joining and watching. I know we had a little mishap with the link. Again, it's our first live video in like 2 years, so we'll get it down for next one. But our goal is to do a live video for every division, talk futures, talk through the teams. So when we're ready to bet the teams and just watch some baseball, we kind of know what to expect and all that. So it's a lot of fun. I can't wait for baseball. Like I said, this is my favorite sport. I'm ready to roll. So we'll probably do the NL Central next time. And these Central divisions, by the way, just sneak peek, they are wide open, like in both leagues. It is absolutely insane. And you do see he does have an AL Central hat on and a jersey for his ridiculously stupid Detroit Tigers. That's right. But yeah, and the half man.
They're ranked higher than the Marlins.
The Marlins. Congratulations on that.
And the Mariners.
Well, yeah, thank you. Go Mariners. We're getting chat comments in now. Here we go. Can't wait to hear about the Mariners. People are fired up about the Mariners. They're looking forward to the Central. Yeah, that's right. Todd is a near St. Louis, but he's a Cubs fan. Cubs are an interesting team as well. So again, we're gonna break down each team, give futures, let you know where we think they're gonna finish in the division. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. Appreciate you guys watching. And Brad, you got any last words?
To the chat, Clubhouse, the Tigers getting Flaherty back. That was a great move. It was a phenomenal move.
Can we stop with the
phenomenal move?
We stop with the Tigers talk. They're gonna get the bad version of Flaherty again. He's gonna walk everybody like he did in the playoffs. He's gonna
the Dodgers got the bad version. We got the good version. That's what sent him to the Dodgers.
That's true. He did struggle at the end. Mariner, no, Charles. I know that, but you don't need to say it out loud. Just because we're the only team to never make it to a World Series does not mean anything. Okay, we will make it.
Thing.
We will make it to the World Series before I die. We will. Because we kind of have to, right? I don't know. It's been ugly. Being a Mariners fan, I do have a Mariners sweatshirt on, but yeah, thanks for reminding me. We have the best pitching staff in the league. Does that matter? Boo Tigers. There we go. Hey, we'll get into the talk. Don't worry.
Yeah.
And
wait till the AL Central happens.
When we get to the AL Central and AL West, you bring your A game. Make sure we can make fun of those Tigers all year long. But yeah, that was fun. Thank you guys again. Just talking baseball. It's awesome. We'll do some more of these live videos. We might even do some live videos during the season, talking some bets and just breaking down the slate for each day. It won't be every day, but we'll try to do as many as we can. So yeah, I love it. You can clown my Reds. Yeah, we'll talk about your Reds next video, that's for sure. But again, thank you guys for watching. Yeah, I think that's all I got. So I appreciate it. I hope you guys all have a good one. We'll be back Sunday night or later tonight with the NBA Best Bets video as I just hit that money line parlay. I'm feeling pretty good about it. But thanks, Digital Rush 28. Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll talk to you soon.